We are live. We are live. Yes.
I'm still not seeing it. Oh, there it is. Hey, what is going on, guys? We finally figured out what was going on. I don't know. I don't know what was going on, but we seem to have figured it out. So, welcome everybody to our Terminator live stream. We're going to be talking about the Terminator series and Terminator 6 and all things Terminator related. My name is Grindhouse Grotto, and I've got the real James here with me tonight.
What's up, everyone?
So we just figured we'd do a little impromptu live stream discussing the Terminator series because we're both huge fans of the series. If you follow my channel, then you already know I upload a ton of Terminator-related stuff. I also like horror movies and other things. So, yeah, we're just looking to talk tonight and see what people's thoughts are on the new movie and just kind of go from there.
Oh yeah.
So welcome everybody.
Welcome. Shit.
So right now we don't have too many people, just me and you.
Yeah.
Give some time to get people in here.
Resizing this real quick. Oops.
Hey, what's up, 80s nostalgia guy? What's going on, man? How are you doing tonight, buddy?
What's up, nostalgia guy? How's it going, man? Good night. How's your Sunday going? Good night to you. It's nighttime here.
Yeah, I really appreciate everybody, having all the comments on my Terminator videos. I really like hearing other people's ideas on the new sequel, and I've never really followed the comic books or the novels, so I've just been strictly watching the movies. So it's really cool to kind of hear people's ideas and people that have followed the comics or the novels. And I've gotten a lot of information from people in my comment section. So that's pretty cool. We got 3 people joining us right now, James.
What's up, everyone? How's it going? Nostalgia's doing good. Good stuff, man.
So, James, why don't you tell them a little bit about your channel, since they know a lot about my channel, but they don't know too much about you.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty much... what did I say about my channel? It's a little bit everywhere. I mean, I really like Halloween, Michael Myers, horror-related stuff. As you see the masks all behind you in these glass cases, I'm a huge Michael Myers fan, huge Halloween fan. Love horror, love sci-fi, obviously the Terminator. I mean, I'm a big fan of it. I think Joe is a bigger fan. He's definitely is like the encyclopedia of Terminator for the most part. But I do enjoy the films. Terminator 2 is definitely one of my favorite sci-fi action kind of films of all time. Hands down, one of the best ever created. James Cameron created a masterpiece, in my opinion, with that movie. So, yeah, I do trailer reactions, just things like that. Reviews, reactions, unboxings. Yeah, I'm sure you'll catch me around.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm a walking encyclopedia. I appreciate it, James. Because, I mean, I haven't followed the comic books or the novels, so, in that aspect, I'm kind of a newbie. But when it comes to films, I can tell you probably pretty much anything about the films because I've watched all of them, several times. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched Terminator 1, or Terminator 2, but even Terminator 3, as much as I don't like that movie. I mean, I do find some redeeming factors in it, and I do, from time to time watch that film quite a bit. I was highly disappointed with Terminator Genisys. I just felt like they really dropped the ball with that movie, and it was just really convoluted, and there was just too much going on. So when it comes to the last couple of movies, I'm just not too big of a fan with them.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Genisys was, it was honestly kind of outside the box thinking. I mean, it was cool, but then once you, spoiler alert, if you've not seen it, you're going to be spoiled right now, the whole John Connor becoming, part of the machines, that was just weird. And I mean, overall though, it did look really cool though. The way, like what was it that was kind of like, it was like,
nanotechnology.
Yeah, that looked really cool, but they should have done that to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of them turning John Connor into an evil character. It just seemed really confusing. And the fact that John Connor like went back in time, you know, it was kind of weird. It was like he came back in time and met up with, you know, with Sarah and Kyle Reese. It just seemed really confusing and just really weird. And you know, you had just too much going on. There's just too many characters. I feel like when there's so many characters like that, you really can't zero in on, you know, the individual stories of each character. You don't get invested in the characters. You just kind of like, you know, that character's kind of cool. That kind of character's kind of cool. And you know, I didn't feel like the casting on Genisys was that great either. I didn't care for, you know, Kyle Reese in that film. I didn't care for Sarah's character in that film. Really, the only person in that film that I actually cared about was Arnold. Honestly, and you know, that's kind of saying something right there. You know what I mean?
You know, maybe it was the actors and, you know, the actor and the actresses who played Kyle and then Sarah. You know, I knew, because I mean, we as, you know, viewers, we love them from the first movie, but then when you watch Genisys, you're like, I know who these characters are, but I feel like I'm not actually watching those characters.
Right.
It's like I wasn't invested into characters I actually do love, because there's something about them that just doesn't seem like the characters I love, you know? So that's another thing with Genisys, like you said, kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger's character. He was the only lovable, really, character that you really felt invested in, and you wanted to see live throughout the whole movie, you know? Right. But the opening, the intro, oh, that was fucking sweet, though.
Yeah, the whole beginning sequence of the movie, the first quarter of the movie was absolutely phenomenal. If they would have kept with that instead of them moving to the future, you know, in the whole, you know, Terminator Genisys angle with the basically Skynet's like a software. If they wouldn't have done that with the film, I think it had potential to be a good film. But when they went to the future in Terminator Genisys, that's when the whole film just went to shit for me.
Didn't James Cameron go on record saying he likes this, like that movie?
He did, but I think he, you know, I honestly think that James Cameron like had only seen that part of the movie. I mean, I don't know what he's seen, but that's all he talked about was that opening sequence. You know, and if you watch the interviews with him where he was praising Terminator Genisys, he talked about the opening sequence, how they basically redid Terminator 1 and 2, his films. So obviously he's going to talk highly of his own work. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
But if he didn't see the rest of the film, they may not have shown him the rest of the film, and he may have only seen, you know, the first part of the film, and he got really excited about it. And then when he saw what happened with the actual film, he's like, damn, man, I can't believe I endorsed this shit, you know?
Yeah. It you know, it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. I mean, I enjoyed it a little bit more than Salvation, to be honest. I thought overall it was a better movie. But I mean, similar to Genisys, I mean, Salvation didn't have a lot of characters I was really invested in. That's the thing, is like the first 3 Terminator movies, even Rise of the Machines, right. I really love that one, and I
do too, man.
I really like it. Yeah, like what is his name? The guy who plays John Connor in that movie?
Nick Stahl.
Nick Stahl, and then you got Claire Danes, Catherine Brewster. Yeah, I mean, those are characters I could get invested in. I really enjoyed watching. So, I mean,
right.
Maybe I'm a little biased. That's like the first Terminator I actually seen in theaters. But I actually enjoyed that movie. They could have done that without some of that the comedy parts. You know, all of a sudden he puts on the glasses and it's the he's at he's at a gay bar or something. You know, but or he's talking to the hand. You know, but I love that movie. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, I like the hell of it too. Vetted Sin, I guess that's how you say your name. He posted in the comment section, where does the whole 2 Terminators sent back to 1984, the T1 timeline, stem from? So if I'm understanding your question, you're talking about this new theory that's floating around that basically, you know, what they're going to do in this new sequel is they're going to basically introduce the second Terminator back in the 1984 timeline. So basically, when they sent back the T-800, the first T-800 and T-1, they actually sent a second Terminator. And the second Terminator had its own objective, and its objective was to kind of lay low until Judgment Day. And it was going to ensure that no matter what happened, there was always going to be a Terminator in the timeline to kind of create the events of Judgment Day. So that theory, if from what I know, actually came from TerminatorFans.com. So somebody from TerminatorFans.com kind of created that theory, and it's been floating around the internet, and people have been getting excited about it. I think it's a real possibility. I think they could go that angle. I personally think, based off the interviews from Tim Miller and James Cameron, that they're going to keep this story very simple, as simple as possible. They're not going to try to have it be convoluted, kind of like the other films, last couple of films. So these extra timelines and extra things going on, I think they're going to keep that kind of limited.
Question, because I honestly, like, I'm a fan of the first 3 films, like a really big fan of those, and I haven't really read up about Dark Fate. Now, I've watched your videos, obviously, but I'm not exactly sure what's going on necessarily. I know we discussed this briefly, in a chat once, where the timelines of 3, Salvation, obviously, and Genisys, those things do not exist. So how are they going to make it so those don't exist? Is this going to be like a Halloween situation where they're just like, yeah, those are out of the timeline. We're just going from this movie to this movie and this movie?
It's kind of like what Star Wars did when they bought the rights from George Lucas. Basically, Terminator 3 forward is not canon anymore.
Okay. So does that mean, because it's Terminator 3?
It's like an alternative timeline now. Like the stories exist, but it's whether you choose to accept them as Terminator canon or not.
Okay.
But as far as the movies go, they're not canon anymore. They don't follow the new timeline moving forward. They're not part of the new timeline, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely need to read up on it a little bit more. To be honest, I haven't followed anything Dark Fate related unless it's been on your channel, honestly. And that's just because I just haven't had the, not haven't had the time, but I've just been focused on other things. But watching your videos, dude, it's been really making me want to invest a little bit more into Dark Fate, especially because James Cameron's back, we got Linda Hamilton back, and then there's that mystery, what's going on with John Connor's character. So I'm quite interested in what's going on there.
So I want to discuss something that I learned today, and this harpens back to me not knowing anything about the novels or the comics. I'm kind of a newbie in that aspect, but people have actually been educating me on my channel on the comment section, which I'm all open for. Hey, there's no shame in my game, man. Anybody can go in the comment section and correct me if I'm wrong or give me some more insight. I'm all for it because I love Terminator and I always want to learn more about the series. So I'm open to people telling me what I don't know. And somebody posted a comment on the comment section basically talking about a book series that came out, after Terminator 2, and it was called Terminator Infiltrator. Okay, and the cool thing with this book series is it discusses the events leading up, it takes place right after the events of Terminator 2. And what somebody told me in the comment section of one of my videos actually blew my mind and makes me really believe that they could be going that route of this novel. And I jumped on Amazon to research this novel because I'd never heard of it before, and I was looking in the comment section and people were really praising this novel, and they were saying that Terminator Infiltrator it's the real sequel to Terminator 2. People were talking down Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines, basically saying that Terminator Infiltrator would have been a much better story if they would have adapted it to a movie. And so let me get real quickly into what this little plot is in this book. Basically, it's kind of similar to what's been floating around from TerminatorFans.com. Basically, there's another Terminator, another T-800, that was sent back in time during the events of T1 or either T1 or T2. And this Infiltrator's mission was to basically kind of lie in wait and kind of wait for the oncoming Judgment Day. And, basically this Terminator at some point in time, ended up killing John Connor, okay? And since it did that, basically Judgment Day is now inevitable. Once you kill John Connor, it's going to happen. The machines are going to win. So once it completed its mission, it had no objective other than just to kind of sit around and wait for Judgment Day to happen. And that's what's going to happen, according to what people have been telling me. If this theory is correct, that would explain Arnold's character being in this timeline and being an aged Terminator. Okay, he's just been kind of lying in wait. He's got no objective. He's becoming more human. He's been learning. He's been adapting to society, and eventually, Sarah, she's going to be really distraught in this film. She's going to be, very upset about John Connor, dying, and she's going to have to move forward with her life, knowing that the Judgment Day is going to happen, and she's going to have to kind of try to stop it without him existing. And it's going to be really her that's going to be starting the resistance. And so there's a couple things. You got Gabriel Luna's character, we don't know exactly what he's going to be, but if you follow Terminator Infiltrator, he could possibly be the T-2000 from that novel, okay? And according to this novel, Sarah Connor has to actually get the help of this T-800 that killed John Connor. She has to have the help of the T-800 that killed John Connor in order to defeat the T-2000. And but see, this T-800 from the Infiltrator novel is supposedly, he's been around for a long time, so he's adapted, and he's very human-like. He knows, the ins and outs of society, and he's the perfect infiltrator. So I find that to be very fascinating. I'm super excited to kind of learn more about that, and I think it's a real possibility. I mean, I like that idea. And I've seen before where movies they like to go off the books, so maybe they will go off this story, or maybe slightly modify it. We'll have to see what happens. What are your thoughts on that, James?
So with Infiltrator, because I have not touched up on the book either. So is it like a replica of the T-800, Arnold's T-800, or what is it exactly?
It's basically similar to what's been floating around in the rumors, that basically during the events of Terminator, the original Terminator, Skynet basically thought ahead, and they were like, okay, what if Terminator failed its mission? They had to have a backup plan. So they sent two Terminators back during Terminator 1, and one Terminator's objective was to assassinate Sarah Connor, and the other's objective was to basically just lie in wait for Judgment Day to happen, and then that way, no matter what they did, there was always going to be a Terminator there to ensure the survival of Skynet. Okay.
Okay.
And that was its objective, was to assimilate itself into society and become like the perfect infiltrator, and eventually it would be so intelligent and so it'd be the perfect specimen. It would be a perfect infiltrator. It could infiltrate itself into the resistance or whatever it needs to do. Okay. But in this novel, sometime after the events of Terminator 2, this infiltrator killed John Connor, and that made it so Judgment Day was going to happen no matter what. Okay. And so at that point in time, it had no objective. It was just kind of idle. And Sarah's mission if this is actually true and they're going off the novel, Sarah's objective in this movie is going to be to hunt down this Terminator. Okay. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. So do they explain what the Infiltrator looks like? I mean, is it like an Arnie character? I mean, is it Arnold's like kind of like skin?
Yeah, it's just another it's another T-101 skin type. It's the same skin type as Arnold. So it's got the T-800 endoskeleton with a T-101. It looks just like Arnold. The same. Just another. They basically sent back two Terminators instead of just one in the original timeline.
Okay, so
go ahead, James.
No, I was just say it was just going to be a follow-up question about John Connor. So with John Connor's character, is so the rumor going around is like the reason why he's not been in any promotional content is because his character is more than likely dead.
We don't know that. All I know is in IMDb is that they don't have an adult John Connor casted. They've got a young John Connor who's been casted as a body double, and the actor's name is Hugh Colley, and he's a young child around the same age as the John Connor that we saw in Terminator 2. So, or he could be playing a younger John Connor somewhere in between, T1 and T2. To me, that would actually be more logical. To if they're going to recreate scenes from one of the movies, they're either going to recreate scenes from Terminator 2 with John Connor, or they're gonna recreate scenes something that happened between T1 and T2, like when Sarah and John were on the run and they were living in Mexico, and they were living with the Mexican family and they were kind of in hiding, and Sarah was kind of training John to become the future resistance leader. We could see those kind of scenes. I don't know. It's just there's just so little that's out right now. All we can do is speculate. And there's just so many different rumors that are floating around and different theories and stuff. But honestly, I think the safest theory to this point is the Infiltrator theory that's been floating around. And have you heard anything about this Grace character, James?
I have not. I have to go do something real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll be back in just a moment.
All right, guys. So there's another theory floating around with this Grace character, that Grace is potentially a I-950 infiltrator, okay? Which an I-950 infiltrator is basically a human with like some cybernetics or some some robotic stuff implanted into her. So she could have like, robotic implants in her brain that kind of enhances her, makes her a more enhanced human. We've seen set photos where she's got scars on her chest. And there's other scenes other pictures where you can actually see kind of like metal where she's got some battle damage. You can kind of see some metal, some shiny metal kind of on her arms and stuff. So she's definitely gonna have something going on with her character, whether she's a full-blown cyborg, or she's some kind of human human cyborg hybrid. We don't know exactly what she's gonna be yet, but honestly, my personal opinion is she's going to be a hybrid. She's going to be a human character that's been operated on, whether that be by Skynet or another company similar to Cyberdyne Systems, that whoever is kind of starting Skynet, whoever's developing Skynet could have operated on her. Skynet might not even exist in this film. It could be a whole other company. It's just there's so many different variables, so many things that we could we could think about and speculate right now. With Sarah and John going to Cyberdyne Systems and blowing it up. I mean, it just kind of opens the door for really anything, in my opinion. So Vetted Sin asks, was Marcus considered an I-950? That is a good question, and all the research that I've looked at as far as Marcus's character goes from Salvation, he was just listed as Marcus. He was just basically a prototype. He didn't have a model number or anything. He was just Marcus. They've never explained what his chassis number is, or what exactly he is. He's just Marcus. So he was a kind of a hybrid. He had a metal endoskeleton, but he had a human brain and a human heart. So he was as close to human as you could possibly get. At the same time, he could survive a lot of damage in battle. So I honestly don't think Grace is going to be very much like Marcus. We'll have to see. I see her character as basically it's hard to tell right now, guys. I think she could either go one of two ways. She could be a character that infiltrates the resistance, or she could be some kind of like accident survivor, like maybe she was in a car accident or something, and they gave her all these mechanical implants to keep her alive, and she's somehow supporting the resistance. I mean, I don't know. There's just so many things that she could be, but the scarring on her body, it just makes me believe that she's some kind of infiltrator. This is kind of what I think. 80s nostalgia guy says, what if Back to the Future and Terminator exist in the same timeline, and Doc Brown invented a tech that allows them to time travel? Well, actually, I'm probably going to be reviewing the Back to the Future series here pretty soon. It's kind of funny you said that, man, because I watched Back to the Future a couple nights ago. and it got me excited to review those films. I love the Back to the Future series. For the love of both those series, I hope to God that they never do a crossover. I think it'd just be really, really silly. I mean, I don't even know how you could do that. They're just two completely different series. So Many Stars says, I think Grace is basically an enhanced soldier, not a Terminator. I agree. I think that she's somebody who maybe, was a soldier or something and got blown up, and then they added some, mechanical parts to her to kind of keep her alive. But I think ultimately, when they were giving her these implants, not unbeknownst to us as the viewers, we might find out later on in the movie that Skynet had put in some programming in her or something that we didn't know about, and she somehow infiltrated the Resistance. So we'll find out. Hey, thanks, Axe 238 Outreach Joey C. That's a crazy name, but I appreciate your support, man. And I've had a blast, talking to everybody on my videos. It's been really fun. Hey, welcome back, James.
Hey, what's up, man?
So, you said earlier that Terminator 2 was your favorite film, James, in the series.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mine is Terminator, the original 1984 Terminator. I love the dark tone of Terminator. I like how it's just simple. It's a very simple plot. I'm not going to lie. I love Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is a phenomenal film. I think Terminator 2 is the better film. Okay? Terminator 2, hands down, is the best film in the series. Okay? It's the best visually. It's got the best cast. It's hands down the best film. But me personally, I like Terminator 1 because of the tone. I like the story. I love the love story between Kyle Reese and Sarah. I just like that it was simple and you didn't have to wrap your head around too much.
Right.
And as the series progressed, it just got more and more convoluted, and that was kind of the downfall of the series. And I'm really just hoping that Tim Miller and James Cameron, if they do what they say they're going to do in these interviews, and they want to bring it back to its core, and not have this big convoluted plot, then I think we're in good hands right now.
So what kind of budget does this movie have? Is it going to be like a fairly big budget, or is it kind of going to be like, because Tim Miller, he worked with Deadpool, which had a fairly small budget, was very successful, and was a very good movie. So what kind of budget you think this movie's going to have in comparison to, say, Deadpool? Now that Tim Miller is kind of like a known known director out there in Hollywood.
It's tough to tell right now. With James Cameron producing, I think it's going to be a pretty big budget. It's going to be a blockbuster movie. Everything that James Cameron does is just blockbuster. But Tim Miller, he's done, lower budget films, so it's kind of a little early to tell. I think once we see the trailer, we'll have a better idea of what we're working with here. But you have to think that, this is James Cameron's legacy that they're doing right now.
Yeah.
He's not going to endorse something that's not going to enhance or improve, his earlier work. Okay.
Right.
Shout out to the person on my channel who basically said someone dropped a comment on my channel, one of my videos, basically saying that they were worried about the SJW agenda, social justice warriors having a lot of female cast, and they were worried about, this being too focused on women's rights and all that, and having some kind of agenda. Honestly, I don't see that happening. I think there's just a lot of hype behind Linda Hamilton coming back, and people are excited. And all we've gotten to this point are just pictures, and we'll have to see. But I don't think James Cameron's going to associate himself with something political or something that's going to turn his fans against him. Okay. Hey, James, I can't. Oh, there you go. Couldn't see you.
No, I agree. Do I feel like? I mean, it does kind of make sense. I mean, okay, so you can look at it from both ends of the spectrum, really. I'm not gonna get political in any way. Trust me. I try to leave that outside of YouTube world, but pretty much with there being it being a 3 female kind of cast, they have 3 known females. I think that might be going. They're not going to go like the hard route of the SJW route of, you know, women's rights and women empowerment and things like that. I mean, I fucking hope they don't. But you know, it would have been nice if there was like maybe just maybe one male on the cover. You know, one male to 2 or 3 females. You know, I just hope they don't go that political route, because I really don't want to watch movies and shit like that just to, you know, watch politics.
Right.
If I want to, I'd go to CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. So I hope they definitely leave that out of this movie.
Well, we do have Gabriel Luna's character, which right now we don't know too much about him. They've kept his character very tight-lipped. We've got, of course, Arnold's character. And there's just some other characters that they haven't released, you know, who they are and what their importance are. So, you know, I'm not too worried about it. At the end of the day, it's a Terminator film, and I'm going to love it. I'm going to watch it just like everybody else is. I mean, come on. We all know we're going to go out and watch this movie regardless, okay? I would be very disappointed if they did go that route, though, and they just were pumping out the, you know, the feminist agenda.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see, but I have hopes, and I have a lot of hopes that since James Cameron's on board and his legacy is basically, you know, is on the line. His legacy is on the line. And he has avoided this franchise for a long time because he produced 2 amazing films, okay?
Hell yeah.
2 absolutely, I mean, I don't know anybody that will honestly say they don't like Terminator or Terminator 2, okay? They are probably the 2 biggest films of our, you know, of our generation, okay? For him to come back and do something that's going to jeopardize his legacy, I just don't see him doing that. And with Tim Miller being a fanboy like he is, and you know, in all the interviews that Tim Miller's done, he's praised James Cameron's work so much. He's a fan of the series himself, and I feel like he's on the same page as the fans, and he knows what we're looking for. And I just don't see him doing that. I think everybody's just riding on this Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton hype train, and that's all that people can think about is, okay, Sarah Connor's coming back. They're trying to push some kind of feminist agenda, and we're just overthinking it. So I feel like we just need to wait and see. When we see the trailer, it'll be very revealing to how, you know, the direction of this film. We're gonna know once we see the trailer what direction they're going.
Dude, I would love if this was like a horror sci-fi, like, you know, similar to the first movie where it's, you know, it is a horror movie. If they made Dark Fate is the title of the movie. That sounds dark. I want to see some crazy, just horrific kind of stuff. I mean, they need to go back to the roots of the first movie. I would love that. As much as I love Terminator 2 over the first one, I love the horror aspect of the first one, and I would love if they brought that to T6 pretty much. That would be a dream.
I agree 100%, James. I love the tone of Terminator 1, and I feel like James Cameron, you know, with his hands on this now, huge shout out again to another person that commented on my video. The Terminator series has always been Sarah Connor's story, okay? You know, as big as John Connor was, as fundamental as he was to the future of the series, it's always been Sarah Connor's story, okay? Right. And they are going to bring her story arc full circle in this movie, okay? And so I think this movie is going to be super, super dark. I mean, the title is enough, Dark Fate. The movie is going to be really dark. I definitely think they're going to go for an R rating in this movie. You know, if it's true and John Connor's character actually, you know, gets written out and they end up killing his character, we are going to see Sarah Connor like we've never seen her before. She is going to be living in her own personal hell in this movie. And she's going to be on a rampage because they killed her son. We saw how protective she was in Terminator 2. Just wait and see how protective she's going to be and how different of a character she's going to be in Terminator 6 if they kill off John Connor. Just wait and see.
You know what I would like if they decide to write off John Connor's character, what I would really like is some flashbacks of, say, the ending of Terminator 2 where John Connor's crying, you know, he looks up to T-800 as a father figure, and then further down the road, they maybe not that night, maybe sometime in the near future, they see that Infiltrator Terminator, like you were saying, and it brings the flashbacks to John, and I think John's death at that point, if he does die, would be so much more like sad. Like I would be just crushed seeing like flashbacks of him crying, looking up to a father figure. Now he sees the same guy or Terminator, and he just like blasts him. Oh God, that would be so emotional, dude. I would be like just like wrecked. I
Right.
would love
Let
that.
me answer a couple of questions in here, James, because we got some people who have been asking questions.
Sure.
Um, let's see. Somebody talked about the arm. Okay. What if John Connor, 80s nostalgia guy, said, what if John Connor grabs the Terminator arm at the end of Terminator 2 in the steel mill and he gets greedy? What? And sells it? No, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry, man, but I can't get behind that. I do agree. There's the potential that they will find this arm. So we all know the scene in Terminator in the steel mill where T-1000 and Arnold's T-800 are battling each other, and then Arnold's arm gets crushed in the in the machine.
Yeah.
And we gotta, what are they gonna do to explain that? Honestly, I feel like they're not even gonna explain that. Like, it's not gonna be part of the explanation. I feel like it's more realistic for them to say, okay, Skynet still exists because they had backup data stored at a different location. To me, that seems more logical.
Yeah.
You don't have to create a scene of John Connor going and actually getting the arm, or somebody going and getting the arm, and like it's just too much work to explain things. I feel like it'd be too much work for them to try to explain them going to get this arm, and it's already been done. We saw that in Terminator 1. We saw the arm was how they created the Terminators. To do it again, I feel like it'd just be kind of rehashing an old plot. So no, I don't think they're going to use the arm. I think it'd be kind of cool. They might find it or something and give it to a company. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be a part of the plot in this movie. Let's look and see. Okay, once again, nostalgia guy saying, what if when Biff altered the timeline, he created a dystopian future when machines take over, the T-800 can be modeled after a more muscular Biff Tannen. Okay, I love Back to the Future. It's a good series, but like I said earlier, I pray to God that they never do a Back to the Future Terminator crossover. Let's keep these two series pure. Many stars says, I love the darkness of T2, but the production values and quality of T2, I wish they could do both. So I think what you meant to say was you like the darkness of T1, but you enjoy the production quality of T2. I agree 100%. Terminator 2 was the more polished film, whereas T1 I feel like had the better story, in my opinion. Okay, so if they can combine that in this film and bring that dark tone, but have that like epicness of Terminator 2, this film will be phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, like T1, dude. I mean, I love T2 is my favorite, but T1 was really the heart because T1's the whole setup. Like when you look at it, John Connor was made in that film. He is supposed to lead the resistance in the future. That's the setup right there. That's like the heart of the franchise. And Terminator 2 decided to take that and do some crazy, like more sci-fi kind of stuff. And honestly, like T1 is, even though it's not my favorite, it is the heart of the franchise. It's the setup completely.
Right. You know what I've actually thought about at one point? What if they because of the results, I talked about this in my video. Tim Miller basically said that there's going to be consequences to the actions of Sarah Connor from T2. What she did in T2 is going to have a cost to it, and it's going to affect the results of Terminator 6. So I got to thinking about it, and all this stuff started coming in my head, and I was thinking, okay, if they just decide to go the route of writing out John Connor's character, what if we get this really emotional scene that takes place right after T2? Like when you see, the road ahead, and Sarah Connor is basically saying, the road ahead is dark and mysterious or whatever. I can't remember exactly what she says, and then we open to this other scene where Sarah and John are together, and then all of a sudden, basically, like John Connor is like just basically disintegrating because he doesn't exist anymore. There's no, the timeline has changed, so now he does not exist, and he's got, and Sarah's got John in her arms, and basically, he's basically disappearing from existence. I mean, just imagine how emotional that would be for Sarah's character, her son, and now he doesn't even exist. Like, she erased him from existence by destroying Cyberdome. Is there some kind of, you get what I'm saying? You get where I'm coming from with that, James?
That makes sense. I didn't even think about that. Like her action pretty much erased the future in how we think of it.
Right. It
Wow.
almost so much that maybe it's even gone so far that John Connor does not even exist. She might have even wiped out Kyle Reese's character, or maybe, I mean, I'm sure Kyle Reese's character exists in the future, but maybe he there was no need for him to go back, or he didn't go back because they changed the future so much that John Connor's character doesn't exist, and then if he doesn't exist, then Kyle Reese doesn't get sent back, and it's just a whole new timeline. I mean, I think as fans, when we see these films, we have this vision of what we think the future is going to look like in the Terminator series, or what future films are going to look like. And in all reality, when you're messing around with time travel, things get really tricky, and things happen. And I'm just curious to see, what are they going to do with this character? That's what's been bugging the hell out of me. Like, they got to explain John Connor's character. He's too important to the series.
Yeah, I definitely don't want a fuckery like Genisys where they just totally just destroy the character and what we fell in love with, from Terminator 2. I hope not. Even Terminator 3, I really like. You said Nick Stoll, was it, played John Connor? I really liked him as John Connor. I mean, of course, I want Edward Furlong, to be honest, but he's going through he has battles, So I mean, honestly, if they're gonna give him a send off, they need to give him a really big send off.
I agree 100%, man. Somebody posted in the comment section, and this is something that James, if you start following a little bit more on Terminator,
Sure.
The news lately has been that Natalia Reyes, who is one of the characters in this film, she is dressed as John Connor in the behind-the-scenes pictures. Okay, she's got a really, like a short haircut, and she's being held by somebody. It looks like she's been kind of being coddled, and it looks like kind of like an emotional scene. And she looks just like the John Connor from Terminator 2. Now, what's going on with that? Because are they basically trying to confuse Skynet to make it seem like John Connor still exists and she's a decoy? Is she possibly a decoy?
Ah, that's awesome. I didn't even think about anything like that.
Right, she could be a decoy character. John Connor could be dead, and they are confusing Skynet, and they're trying to have her as a decoy.
Or he's alive, and they're using a decoy.
Right, or he's alive, he's in hiding, and she's a decoy. Man, there's just so much things that right now, like, it's killing me. I know it's killing everybody because we all want to know what's going on, and we're all sitting here, got all these ideas in our head, and it's driving me freaking nuts, to be honest with you. And what pisses me off right now is the fact that the trailer is not going to come out until probably June or July. Okay, and that's a long time to freaking go without knowing anything about the movie. I think it's great. I mean, it's great for the film because it's going to build hype for the film, and that's good. We always want hype, but damn, man, I just want to know what's going on right now. I don't know how you guys feel, but the hype train right now is freaking crazy for me.
Yeah, dude, especially with this Infiltrator book that you were discussing earlier. It makes me want to go out and pick it up and read it because it possibly could be what the future of the franchise might be. Because I'm assuming this ain't going to be the last one, right? I mean, there's going to be more Terminator movies if this one's successful and it received well.
They've already announced that this is a trilogy.
Oh,
okay?
There you go.
So Tim Miller and James Cameron, when they did their first initial interview, they said that they sat down. It was Tim Miller, James Cameron, and like 3 other directors, and they mapped out 3 individual stories. Okay, and each movie is good enough to be its own standalone film. Like, in case in the event that Terminator 6: Dark Fate ends up not being a very good film or not well received, it's good enough where it can stand on its own. It's not going to be like each film is dependent on the other films.
Right.
Each film's its own separate storyline, but they all, as a whole, will work together. And I think that's pretty cool. And he said that this is, his vision is to bring like Terminator to a bigger universe, kind of similar to Star Wars or the Marvel comic universe. and kind of expand it out and kind of introduce new ideas. Okay. Which I'm super excited about because I live and breathe Terminator. Okay. I've watched all the movies probably hundreds of times. I've seen the Sarah Connor Chronicles, the TV show. I thought that was phenomenal. I'm definitely on board for a trilogy.
Vetted Sin, I will search T2 Infiltrator.pdf tonight because I definitely want to look into it. And also, Carmelo Sagro, hope I pronounced your name correctly, said a possible teaser trailer April 28th, which would be amazing because my birthday is April 27th, so that would be one hell of a birthday present. I tell you what.
Hell yeah, man.
So I actually mentioned Rambo.
Yeah, Rambo 5. That is another film that I'm closely watching. I love the Rambo series. I'm so excited for Rambo 5. Me and James were just talking about it earlier. You know, I've read that Sylvester Stallone, basically, I know I'm getting off topic, but he stated that he is wrapping up his Rambo. He's not going to do another Rambo film after this. This is going to wrap up Rambo's story in this movie, okay? He is wrapping up a lot of different... His character is wrapping up on a lot of different series. So he's wrapping up his character in Rambo. Creed 2 just came out. He said that's the conclusion of his character in Creed 2. He's doing Expendables 4. So Expendables 4 is his last film in that series. It sounds to me like Sylvester Stallone is kind of bowing out gracefully. He knows he's gotten to the age where he just can't continue to do this anymore. I mean, it's just not realistic for him to be in action films. And I hate to say this, guys, but I think this is the last Terminator film with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
Like physically there? Like him physically?
I don't think he'll ever play another Terminator after this film. Now, if they want to explain him as a human, as a human character, I think they could do that. But as an actual Terminator, I think this is going to be his last film.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, honestly, I mean, I don't want him to be, but it seems like with his age and everything, like, it's going to start going into the route where they're not going to need him as the actor. Maybe, not very much. They'll just use a bunch of CGI if they want to bring his T-800 back or whatever. Maybe I just with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone, they're reaching that age where it's like, hey, like you said, it's just unrealistic of them to continue going down the path they are. And maybe it sucks for them because they don't want to let go of like such great times. I mean, great movies as well. But what's that?
It gets so tough. It gets so tough to kind of create a story for them inside the movie because you have to go to great lengths to explain their characters.
Right.
You know, why are they so old now? Like, you have to do so much. And now we're starting to get into the realm of having to use all kinds of CGI for their characters. It just seems so unrealistic. I think Arnold looks phenomenal in the press pictures for this movie. I like the fact that he looks old, and I like the fact that they made him look his age. Okay, in Terminator Genisys, we all knew his Terminator was aged, but they tried to make him look younger, which didn't look right. Okay, they gave him this like grizzled salt and pepper beard, which looks really cool. He's got the partially gray hair. I mean, he looks badass. I like Arnold with a beard. I think he looks really good on him.
Nice. Was that promotional images for the new movie?
Right. Yeah, they did some promotional images. There's been all these images floating around of Arnold as the Terminator. We've got promotional images of Sarah Connor and Grace and Natalie Reyes, Gabriel Luna's Terminator. We can only assume that he's a Planet Terminator, but he's listed on IMDb as a Terminator, but we don't know what kind of Terminator he is.
So 80s nostalgia guy wants to know what's better, Terminator 2 or The Matrix? Personally, Terminator 2.
Yeah, Terminator, hands down. I do love The Matrix as well, but it's nothing will top. I mean, The Matrix is never going to be all top the Terminator.
Oh, Sean Urshan's in the house.
What up, Sean?
How's it going, man?
Sean Urshan has mixed feelings. Psyched to see Linda Hamilton back, but then there was Genisys. I agree. Genisys left a very bitter taste in my mouth. It's almost unforgivable at this point. I remember leaving the movie theater so freaking pissed off, like they robbed me of my money. Um, yeah, man, I own it. It's in my collection. I mean, I watch it for, I guess, whatever reason I watch it. But yeah, I mean, I only really enjoy the first like quarter of that movie, and then the rest of it I just can't stand.
How you doing, Sean? How's it going? Sean Urshan from the Horror Corner. How you doing, man?
The Horror Corner.
Good evening, folks.
Yeah, man, I'm totally gonna get that freaking Infiltrator book, man. I gotta read this shit now. Like, I love reading novels and reading books and stuff, but like, you know, as I've gotten older and you know, my job and stuff, like, I find it really hard to sit down and read a book. But man, this book sounds so good. I was reading the synopsis about it on Amazon, and this shit sounds really legit. So I'm getting this freaking book, man. I'm reading it.
I almost want to buy it. Like it would be nice to like read it for free, but I almost want to own that piece like in my collection. You know, that novel would be awesome.
Right.
Let's see here.
So,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Carmelo, I can't pronounce her last name, but Carmelo stated that there's possibly going to be a teaser trailer the 28th of April 2019.
Yeah.
We can only hope, okay? And I hope they don't spoil the plot of the movie like Terminator Genisys did, where basically you knew 90% of the movie, you know, after watching the trailer. Like, they don't need to do that. Like, let's get a couple quick scenes of Linda Hamilton to get that fan nostalgia going. Maybe something real brief that gives us like a little hint that gets our juices flowing. We start thinking about Terminator, you know, keep the conversation going. But that's all I want to know. I don't want any spoilers. In fact, I've been avoiding a lot of videos that I found on YouTube because I'm trying to avoid spoilers. Like, I'm excited for the movie, but I don't want to know anything about the plot, you know?
Right, exactly. Sean says, Dark Fate seems kind of a generic name. And, dude, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I 100% agree with you. It just seems a little, not cliche, it's not the word I want to use, but it just seems a little bit bland to me. Like, it's almost like, obviously there's going to be a bigger meaning behind it, but I definitely feel like it could have been something a little bit more, I don't know, I was going to say dark, but...
More epic? More epic, yeah?
A little bit more epic, yeah, you know, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, Judgment Day is just a really epic title.
Even Rise of the Machines, you know?
Right. I get what you're saying. It's just kind of like, it's just not epic enough.
I agree, yeah, 100%.
But, you know, I think it's cool. Like I said, I hope this movie has a really dark tone, and Dark Fate sounds like it's going to have a dark tone, so we'll wait and, wait and see.
So, what fate, though? The fate of who?
I honestly think this is really going to be an exploration of Sarah's character. Right. I think she's going to be, you know, and James Cameron has said this, that we are going to see a side of Sarah's character. Excuse me, guys. We are going to see a side of Sarah's character that we've never seen before in the previous films. She is going to be on a rampage in this movie. Okay, he didn't quite say that, but I mean, he might as well have said that. I mean, you just look at the pictures, the press pictures that have been released. I mean, she's in full, like, you know, army get up and stuff. She's looking like she's getting ready to go to battle. I mean, she's gonna be a badass in this film, and I think it's gonna be, her story arc is gonna be very similar to Jamie Lee Curtis's character in Halloween and the Halloween 2018 sequel. So Laurie Strode, where we saw, if you've watched Halloween 2018, Laurie's character in that movie was very, like, you know, she was just emotionally scarred. She had all, you know, she was just a really messed up character mentally. And I think that's what we're going to see with Linda Hamilton's character. I think they're going to go that route where they're going to, something traumatic or really bad has happened to her. And I think it has to do with John Connor's character. I think she's going to be so messed up because of whatever happened to him. And it's going to leave her a very emotionally scarred and just a complete badass in this movie.
Yeah, totally, dude. Skate Tune, what's up, man? How's it going? You know, this guy comes in to our streams. He always has these like really cool fucking ideas, like the Nightmare on Elm Street, like how like it should be called Elm Street, and then Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. So he came in here and he says the Terminator should win the next one. Set up a sequel. I don't want a happy ending Terminator where the good guys win. And I kind of like that idea where you almost feel like humanity is lost and it almost leaves you for like a 2-year cliffhanger. I would love that, dude. That's a fucking sick idea.
Yeah, man. We need to see Skynet win at some point.
Hell yeah.
I don't want to say 100% win, but they have to have some kind of victory in this movie. And it's got to set up the future sequels, and it's got to be the ending of this movie has got to be extremely dark. Okay, I mean somebody of significance has to die, and it's got to be a very emotional ending to this movie. I just remember, we all have seen the ending of Terminator 2 and how emotional that was. With Uncle Bob getting lowered into the molten lava, and I mean I personally cried as a little kid. On that scene when Uncle Bob was getting lowered in, and we need something to top that, okay? And I hope they do that in this film.
Sean would like to see more of the barren wasteland future where the machines have taken over. Me too. That's the thing with Salvation. Salvation didn't capitalize on that as well as I thought. I don't know, something about the Terminator 2 where, you see the future, you see the, all the skulls in the barren wasteland, and it has like this blue hue to it. Kind of just looks really... I don't know. There's something about the way that looked that I was hoping that would be in Salvation, where I think Salvation was, it didn't really achieve that look and what I was looking for the future of the Resistance. So that's a good idea as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Do you guys miss Sarah Connor Chronicles? I do.
Hell yeah.
I love the hell out of Sarah Connor Chronicles. I like season 1 more than I like season 2. I thought the show was phenomenal. I felt like the writing got a little bit weak, midway through season 2. I can see why they decided to cancel it, because from my understanding, they had different script writers or different writers for a lot of the different episodes. And I don't know what was going on, but whoever was writing the episodes, like midway through season 2, it just started to kind of go downhill and get repetitive and kind of boring. So, I was disappointed when they canceled it, because I really wanted to continue the series, and I felt like, a lot of amazing TV shows go through a bad period, and I was on board to kind of get through that, and hopefully it would have gotten better. But I mean, who knows? They might bring back another Terminator series.
That would be dope. Hey, I'm going to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. So Outreach Joey C said, I wonder if there will be any time travel in the story. I think we will see the arrival of Terminators in this film, like we've seen in all the Terminator films. We've always seen the arrival of new Terminators. Gabriel Luna's character, we'll probably see him arrive at some point. We might not even see an arrival at all, because this could be the new future. Okay. So I talked about it in some of my other videos where, what we see in Terminator 6 might not be what we even think or what we've envisioned this future or Terminator 6 is going to look like. Because when we saw Terminator 1, Terminator 2, we had this idea of what this possible future, it's 2029 and 2032 and these different dates in the future. We envisioned what it was going to be like because we saw scenes of the future. But we have to understand it's 2019 now, and it's almost there. And it's not it's 2019 and we're not anywhere near what it looks like in those movies. So it's going to be different. And I think we're just going to see a different future. So, the whole time travel thing, since the future might be, what we're seeing in 2019 in this film is going to look different. Maybe the Terminators are already there. Maybe Gabriel Luna's character is already there somehow. But I think we'll see probably some kind of time travel. Yes, the Phantom. We already discussed prior in the live stream, we discussed Arnold's arm that was left in the factory then at T2. They are going to They might discuss what happened to Arnold's, Uncle Bob's arm that was left in the machine, but I think that would be kind of lazy writing, in my opinion. It seems like to me it'd be so much to explain. To have to recreate scenes of somebody going and getting the arm, and it was crushed pretty good. I don't think there'd be too much left of the arm. It wouldn't be too identifiable. I think the more logical route would be to explain that there was backup data from Cyberdyne systems that was stored somewhere off site, and they were able to move forward with Skynet with that data that was stored somewhere else.
What up?
What's up, man?
Not much. What we got here? What's going on here?
Yeah, guys, we're going strong here. 18 viewers. Appreciate everybody's support. This is a phenomenal live stream. I'm enjoying this a lot.
Oh yeah, dude. Me too. Yeah. Oh, so you guys were talking about the T800 arm in T2?
Yes. As that being a potential plot angle for this new sequel.
Dude, that thing was fucking mashed.
Yeah, it was pretty mashed up. I think it'd be kind of lazy writing to incorporate that into the plot. I just feel like it'd just be too much to explain it. There's just other things they could do to explain the existence of Skynet and other ways they could carry on the story. I wish Brad Fidel was doing the music score. That music gave the Terminator feel. I agree 100%. I love his score in all the movies. Thanks, Crazy Dave. I appreciate the support, man. So anybody have any other ideas of the Terminator series, or what your thoughts are about the other movies in the series? T3, Terminator Salvation, and Genisys.
Yeah, it did spoil that. So Skate says, I'm nervous on the trailer. The last trailer spoiled John Connor was a Terminator. What the fuck? I agree, dude. That was garbage. Like not only did it like spoil, but like he actually was. It wasn't like, maybe some dream sequence or something, but it actually was a stupid fucking idea.
Yeah, Outreach Joey Steve said, have you guys watched any of the Upside Down 6 videos from a while back? Yeah, I've watched a lot of his content. He's got amazing content as well. He's got a lot of really good ideas. I've watched almost all of his videos. I believe he was the one that did he talked about each different type of Terminator and went in depth about their chassis number and kind of explained the existence of these different Terminators. So just it kind of educated me on the different types of Terminators in the series. Excuse me. And I've really enjoyed his videos.
Got thrown the Terminator 2 soundtrack real quick.
Yeah. Terminator 3 was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It just was a little bit too silly for me. There's just too many ridiculous scenes in there. The whole talk to the hand thing. Him going up into the female nightclub and then the male stripper and all that. I don't know. And then some of the dialogue scenes between Arnold's character, it's like he knew too much. Like I think it was all right that they tried to make him a little bit more intelligent. He wasn't a T800, he was a T850. And the reason why he was a T850 is because he had some kind of upgrade to him where he had like an enhanced database of information, and he knew psychology and he was able to understand people a little bit more. I feel like it was a little bit unneeded. I kind of enjoyed just the Arnold, the T800 Arnold from Uncle Bob from Terminator 2. I feel like they just took it a little bit too far with the T800 in Terminator 3. That's just my opinion. Jamie Rawlings said, "Do you think Sarah will die?" She's gonna die. It all depends if she's gonna die in this film or if she's gonna die in one of the sequels. I think it would be a little bit too early for her to die in the first movie. If it's really a trilogy, and they are going to continue the story with 2 other films, I think it would be a little bit too much. I feel like it would discourage people from seeing sequels. So I think maybe her dying in the first third or the first half of maybe the second film would make more sense. But I think something significant really has to happen to her. She has to be something very, very bad has to happen at the end of this movie. If she's still going to survive, something really bad has to happen to her.
I think she's gonna die, or, well, yeah, I think she's gonna die. To be honest, I don't know what else her story can give us at this point. I mean, the whole thing starts from her supposed to be the mother of John Connor. She's supposed to, her and Kyle Reese are supposed to create John Connor to lead the resistance in the future. If they kill John Connor, what future does she have? I guess we still need to find out, but what's so important about her future at this point? I feel like she's done everything she can. I feel like her story has run its course because of her age. How is she going to lead the resistance? I mean, when's the resistance? When's the future start of the man versus machines, from the time T6 happens to the time that Judgment Day begins, or I just don't know where her story can go from here, where it can progress from here. She can do some cool shit, and she can train people and let them know the stories, what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I just don't know where her story can progress from here that will be beneficial to anything else other than where the resistance is going to be. Because if there's no John Connor, how is she going to be the leader at her age?
Yeah, I think that there's got to be another. If they're going to kill off Sarah Connor's character, there has to be another significant character that's going to be developed in this new film.
Yeah,
that could be Natalia Reyes' character. It's kind of looking like her right now, because she looks to be very close to Sarah Connor's character. In the set pictures that we've seen, she's always with Sarah, so maybe she's assisting Sarah some way, or she's just very close to Sarah Connor. We know that Sarah Connor and John Connor, they lived in Mexico at one point when they were, waiting for Judgment Day to happen. So, there's that possibility they got close to some Mexican families, and that's where Natalia Reyes' character comes in. Is she's a very close friend of Sarah, and is going to have some impact in the future films. And they could develop her character, and there's got to be some kind of emotional tie that makes us invested to her character in order for her to continue the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense. I read somewhere where people were asking, actually it was recently, when people were like, what do you think of Norman Reedus as a John Connor?
Your camera's gone, James.
What about now?
Yeah, Norman Reedus really does look like an older John Connor. It really does.
I think he could play a pretty badass John Connor, to be honest.
I think I hate to say this though, but his star power is a little bit too much though.
At this point, yeah.
It's just like inserting somebody into the movie who's just too big, and I feel like you wouldn't be able to separate him from The Walking Dead. It just would seem really weird for him to be in there. I think he looks just like a future. What an older John Connor would look like, but I just think it'd be too weird. You wouldn't be able to separate him from The Walking Dead. It just would seem really bizarre to have him in that role.
Unless he cut his hair and really just shaved everything and then really looked like a whole new person. That's the only way I can separate myself. And he didn't kind of have such a somber, deep tone to his voice. That's the only way I wouldn't be able to distinguish him from The Walking Dead. Otherwise, I would only see him as Daryl Dixon.
Right. What did somebody say? What about Leonardo DiCaprio as John Connor? What are your thoughts on that, Dave?
No, thank you.
I mean, once again, it's just it's another person. It's like when they brought Christian Bale on board. Okay, Christian Bale is a phenomenal actor. I don't want to take away from his acting, but his name was just a little bit too big for the franchise. Okay.
Yeah.
His name was so big, we all everybody got in their heads, and we were thinking that, oh my god, we got Christian Bale on board, it's gonna, the series is gonna be so phenomenal now, and then it didn't live up to the hype. And I feel like if you brought in these big name actors into the role of John Connor, it'd be the same scenario. We would just get so hyped up for it, and we'd be setting ourselves up for a huge letdown.
Yeah, I totally agree. And honestly, Leonardo DiCaprio, he's a bigger actor than Norman Reedus is. So having such a big person with star power is good and bad. But I just can't picture Leonardo DiCaprio. Honestly, it might be just his stature. Yeah. Maybe that's it. I want someone who's just kind of like honestly, Christian Bale is. If Christian Bale had played John Connor 10 years prior to how big he was at that point, it would have been better.
Oh yeah, definitely. Don't get me wrong. I think he did a good job in Salvation. I liked his portrayal of John Connor. I just felt like his name brand, his what we expect of Christian Bale, it brought a lot of hype to the movie, and it I don't know, it just didn't deliver for whatever reason. But
almost distracting.
Yeah, it was exactly. It was like too much. It's too distracting. We worked up in our heads what it was going to be like to have him play the character, and then when he played the character, it just, I don't know. To me, it just kind of made it. It just made it a little bit weaker. It just made the film seem like it made the other characters not as important. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Got a couple people here thinking the dude from Cobra Kai would be a good fit. Edward Furlong could still make a comeback. I mean, he could. He really could. I think he's just going through some hard times right now. I think we all have them, and I don't know what demons he's going through right now and what demons he has. Shit, for all we know, maybe he is in the movie, and like all of us are just speculating all this, and he's just like he does make an appearance in the movie, like as himself in present day. We don't know.
Yeah, that's a good possibility. And you know what is very fascinating about Edward Furlong right now? There's been a lot of news about him as an actor, and a report came out a couple months ago basically saying that Edward Furlong has been spotted in the gym and has been like actually getting in very good shape. Like he's in phenomenal shape right now. He's been drug free for a long time, and there's some speculation going on that they might try to bring him in for a second film or the third film, and maybe in this film they are going to explain that John's in hiding, and maybe that's why they got to decoy John Connor, because his character's hiding, or they could explain why he's not in the film, and then bring Edward Furlong in as John Connor in the sequels. I mean, we don't know.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I mean, pretty much. I mean, Dark Fate doesn't necessarily have to mean the fate of one specific person. It could be just the fate of humanity itself. You were saying that the change, or what Sarah Connor did in T2 altered something. We don't know what. It could be John Connor's death. It could be humanity's future, her future. Honestly, it could be anything, and we have not been given enough yet to really jump on what that could mean. And I mean, James Cameron, he's coming back. He wants to make this big, and I have a feeling if they were to bring John Connor, and John Connor was not dead, and I think they would try to jump for that Edward Furlong kind of. I think they'd jump on him to get him to come back and play John Connor. Now, do I think that Edward Furlong plays a good John Connor as a leader, similar to that of John Connor in the beginning of T2, where you see the guy, he has a scar and he's kind of looking, I don't think he has the stature to play a leader in the future. That's the only thing.
That's kind of the problem we're at, because Terminator 2, we saw what the future John Connor looks like.
And he looks like badass.
Yeah, he does. And that's what we all expect John Connor to look like in the future. And Edward Furlong doesn't look anything like him, okay?
No.
And he's an adult now, so how do we explain that? Like, it's not like he's gonna have plastic surgery to and look like him or something.
Right.
It just would not make sense. I don't know. I would love to see Edward Furlong back, but they'd have a lot of explaining to do. From those future scenes with John Connor in the future. It wouldn't make sense to me.
Fucking get John Cena as John Connor.
Yeah, John's gonna come out.
Jesus.
Well, hey guys, I think I'm pretty tapped out for the night. We're gonna answer a few more questions, if that's cool with everybody. I gotta get up early for work. So we're gonna wrap up this live stream. Do you got any other things you want to talk about, James?
I'm pretty good. You very informative. Filling me in on the upcoming movie in this coming out this year. So yeah, a lot of information I just learned here, especially about this Infiltrator book. Really kind of like being the speculation of like some of the aspects of what this new film might be, and then a lot of information from all of the people in the comment section, which you guys have all been great. Thank you so much. For helping providing me some of this information, because honestly, like, I watched all the Terminator movies, but after Terminator 3, I kind of jumped off. I watched Salvation once since it's been out, Genisys once, and honestly, the first three are like my movies, and Terminator 2 being one of my favorite action films of all time, and then Terminator 1 having the horror roots that I really enjoy. I love those films, but after Terminator 3, I kind of just fell off.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
With all this hype, with your channel, Grindhouse, Joe, and then all these people in this comment section, you guys have been really informative and really helpful in helping me, because now I'm kind of excited for this new movie. Before I was kind of iffy, we have Linda Hamilton and James Cameron back, but what does that do? But now it seems like there's like a possibility for all kinds of different scenarios, and I'm really excited.
Dude, I am so freaking pumped for this movie. You have no idea. I'm getting the chills just talking about it. Every time I start thinking about it, I'm getting really excited. I haven't been this excited for a Terminator film since probably when Terminator 3 came out. Because when Terminator 3 came out, it was a long time between Terminator 2 and Terminator 3. And the hype was real back then when Terminator 3 came out, okay? Because Arnold was still young back then, and, I was just, like, keeping up with all the different news of Terminator 3. But I'm even more hyped about this film than I was about Terminator 3 back in the day.
Dude, Manny Star, just a moment ago, sorry if you were going to say something, he was thinking exactly what I was thinking. He said John Hamm would make a great older Connor, and I could see that. He has that look, that face, that jaw structure, that I don't know, dude, there's something about that look that he has that he could definitely be a general of some sort. I agree completely.
Right. Well, hey guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in. It's been a phenomenal live stream. I'm super excited to have this many people following my channel and enjoying my Terminator content, and I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you go ahead and check out the Real James Grimm channel. He's got phenomenal content as well. He's an excellent YouTuber. He loves horror. He loves action. He just reviews a lot of different things. And he's got a phenomenal Halloween fan film that he's been working on. He's worked extremely hard on it. I actually had the privilege to review it, and I'm telling you guys, if you like the Halloween series, I've seen a lot of fan films on YouTube, and James did a phenomenal job with his fan film. He's doing some some little bit of editing right now. It's about 95% there, but from what I saw, man, that fan film is phenomenal. It's called Halloween: The Blackest Eyes from the Real James Grimm, and it's phenomenal. You need to go check it out. Make sure you sub his channel because he's a great YouTuber as well.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much, man. Thanks for having me on your channel, by the way, bro. It seems like every time you and I get on these streams or just talk in general, we I don't know, man, we just flow so well. I
know it's weird. Like, I feel like it is nothing against like anybody else, and I know we've done live streams of Braden, and I enjoy doing live streams of Braden, and I know Braden's probably gonna watch this, but for whatever reason, when the three of us get together, it's like not as good. I guess it's because like the more people you have, the harder it is to do the live stream, and you just can't flow as easily. But whenever James and I get together, it's like we just hit it off, man. And we have really good discussion, and we have a lot of participation in the comment section, and I really enjoy doing these live streams.
Yeah, somehow we just bounce off each other really well, and I love that. Super, dude. I love it so much. It's great.
All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap this up. I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's been a phenomenal night. And as always, stay tuned. I've got some other ideas for content, and I'm going to be keeping up with Terminator news. So stay tuned to my channel. Please subscribe so that way you can get updates as I receive them. And it's been a fun time, guys. And you all take care. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate all the support. Till next time, guys. Take it easy.
Peace.